BTs and assistants. So it seems like for the tier 2 teams that they're almost following the tier 1 teams at the moment in terms of bringing on coaches and people behind the scenes. Wow, those odds flakes though, 1.55 to 1 up for ESPADA on loot bets. You can check out their links below the Twitch banner. That's a little bit of a surprise to sort of see that they are quite heavy favorites in this festival.
Yeah, definitely interesting odds. I think it'll be interesting to see how many people decide to take loot bet up on that offer. Only time will tell, I suppose. But nonetheless, we are alive and kicking in the action as it's Dima to start the show towards top banana. He's going to tap away, try and get what he can done, just hold towards his car position. And dare I say, so far so good. He gets a frag for his troubles, finds Mart as well, who's tucked in towards tree, nowhere really for him to go. And that's left ESPADA in a relatively good position here. 4v3 and Finnegan tucked into his long, ready to do some damage. They will swing him, though. And that's where he is going to be, unfortunately, dead to rights.
Oh, the CTs, though, as soon as they realize the play's out towards long, they just start to push out through banana, go and wrapping up through mid. But the Ts have now realized that the CTs have come all the way from banana up through mid, that we can actually go to B because it's going to be completely open. 2-on-3 for Fate. This should be an easy bomb plant. Play the scenario. You are in a man disadvantage. That's why Fight's trying to come in from Han, and it's all down to Patrick in a 1-on-3.
I love the attempt there, but the wide swing from the USP, what you just don't want to see there. Absolutely annihilating him as he does sneak in a kill, but the USBs just pick him apart. Those headshots look glorious for the ESPADA side. Fate making a cracking attempt, and I love the 200 IQ rotate through Archway towards B. Unfortunately, this time around, it doesn't quite work out, and it all comes down to those flying headshots from those USPs. That was just an age of reckoning from ESPADA.
And what made it a little bit more difficult too is that if they had a 3-on-3 and they got the bomb plan at B, then they can maybe play a little bit more passive. But considering the fact that they've got that man disadvantage, that's why you see the aggression coming out towards CT to try and see if you can cut off one of those rotators, force the 2-on-2, force the even playing field. Now, even with that bomb plant, normally we would see Fate just going for the full investment, getting those Galils up, going for the armor as well. But instead, they're going for a little bit of a half buy, upgrading some pistols, getting a little bit of Kevlar, bit of utility, but not quite a full force flex.
Yeah, they're basically playing into this round as if they didn't get a bomb plant. That's basically the outcome here when you look at what they've spent. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what that offers them in return. Obviously, they do have that bit of Kevlar on 3 players' backs, and they also have some upgraded pistols to work with, like you say. So the question there will really boil down to what can you do with those deagles? Are you going to get a frag for your troubles? And so far, not so good. The wallbangs have been close, but not quite close enough.
And now we've seen ESPADA rotating that 4th player over to the A bomb site from B. Not a great amount of utility from the CT side, considering how much ESPADA's already used, but Fate have been able to establish this brackets control and just setting themselves up for an A site execution. They actually end up rotating that 4th player back over to B. Dexter is doing absolute work with this M4, drops that bomb and drops the entire attack over from that long position. That fell apart so quickly.
Yeah, he just picks them off like they're absolute flies, doesn't he? Makes it look very, very easy. I actually thought he might be in trouble there because he's using the M41S, and typically with that gun, you do get kind of those guys who taps in, but getting the 4 kills as they come can actually be a little bit difficult because you just don't have the bullets in the chamber. But he was pinpoint accurate. He got the job done. And from there, we move forward with a fairly successful start here for ESPADA. I think only the downside in this round for ESPADA is if we saw Fate opt for short, they would have made some serious money there from those SMGs.
Yeah, that is one point of sort of making it, is the fact that they're not farming up the economy in terms of the kill bonus from those SMGs. But look, they're still going to take round 3 as a bit of a bonus round. They've got the opportunity of at least upgrading an M4 into Patsy, but they're keeping 3 SMGs in play. And going for just banana control. There is no presence here from Fate whatsoever. They are giving it up to the CTs for free.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. I mean, they've licked the stamp and sent to Amazon Prime style straight down through Banana. No fear at all to keep on pushing. We see the nade come through and claim a kill. I love that in response from Fate, though, as well. The double push up through short. That clears out the entire A-slit for them now. So despite ESPADA's aggression, they do actually lose out in the long run. And what makes things even more dicey is that player located just in the underpass of mid. That could cut off the rotation and ultimately force ESPADA into a save here.
And you had to think there for Fate, that probably wasn't their plan. Their plan was probably just run a default. And as soon as they realized that heavy utility's gone down towards Banana and the CTs have taken it, they go, right, let's just go quick into A. We've realized the fact that the B players, or at least the rotators, are going to take really long getting from that B bomb site over to A. let's just try and brute force our way in, because you've got to think for most of the time, trying to take banana control, you're bringing, what, 2, sometimes even 3 players? So already getting that information like through straight away into the round. They go fast up, they trade incredibly well, they bait set up out, peek on each other's contact with the double swing. What a response to come out from Fate as soon as we go into the gun round too.
Exactly, and you really hit the nail on the head when it comes to those rotations from ESPADA. Typically, when you make that play, you know you're bringing a third player, you're bringing your Speedway player, because he's going to be there to throw the smoke, so that you have a smoke available on B for later in the round. So, really smart stuff from Fate to respond that way. I think luck of the draw sort of helped them out in terms of why ESPADA went for the play they did. Now, they have to hold on to it. Getting that round through is not just off the back of them playing it well, making a good decision, but ESPADA kind of set them up for that. I want to see them now take charge here and show us what they can do on their T side, and ultimately prove to me that, you know what, there is a second round in the making for them on their T side, and it will start with a bit of apps play. Patrick gonna push and prod here, see what he can find. Little does he know, Patsy is just inches away to egg. He's crawling around the apps. He's there, sat waiting for that push to come through. That is a brawl in the making.
I'll tell you what, Faye are doing a really good job of just taking early control. Like, early map control is coming everywhere on the map, out through the apartments, towards bottom of banana, out through second mid. This just looks to be like an apps pop to try and get... Oh, yeah, Patrick's completely blind. Oh, he follows up with 2 kills. And just a single flashbang opens up that bomb site. What an unbelievable take coming out from Faye.
That is absolutely insane. I mean, Patrick has jumped out balcony and he's being an absolute hero, but at the same time, he shouldn't be able to do anything at all there. He's sat in a corner, blind as he can be, and manages to get 2 kills for his troubles.
Yeah.
I mean, I have so many questions, Dweg. Where was the axe play? What happened? There's so many question marks in my mind right now about how he's been able to get away with that. It's insane. The ESPADA were actually set up in the right position to deal with that push. Instead, some form of rotation came in, prompting the players to drop from the app side of balcony and go on towards short. And from there, Fate, they just came plowing through. 3 players got out of apps and onto short before we saw a single bullet practically fired from ESPADA. And by that point, it was too little too late. Patrick was laying into them thick and fast.
Well, that's the thing, is if the T's go for an app pop, you really want a CT to be either in pit or in balcony, and there was no one in
what
either
happened?
direction. I don't know, like, he was
so
there,
infuriating.
like, and then he wasn't. Yeah, look, I don't know what the call was there for ESPADA, but yeah, they started to sort of move around a little bit, aggress up through short, and then no one could deal with the apps plays. So for Fate, you've got to think for these guys, you know, they're looking really confident on the T side. They're being able to take a lot of map control. And you know what I'd like to see from ESPADA? Just a little bit more aggression, you know? Outside of the banana takes, what have we really seen from them in aggression? We haven't seen anything deep in the apartments. We haven't seen anything sort of in towards brackets or in boiler. They're just giving so much map control away from Fate, and it's giving them so many opportunities to start to go either A to B to fake. They've just got so many ideas of what they can do with on this T side.
It's an easy trap to fall into, though, on Infernal on your CT side, where you apply all of your aggression towards the B site, and then you're passive elsewhere on A, and that's kind of your tactic. So have to be conscientious of not falling into a kind of a very transparent setup there and only sending it down banana. For now, of course, the pistol's fully stacked on B. They are going to try and hold the line here. Snopvic does get a kill for his troubles, but unfortunately, he is just one big piece of bait. They realize it's a stack. They've already packed their bags. They took a first-class flight over to the A site, and that bomb will come down pretty quickly, leaving only rotations to come through for ESPADA, an opportunity to do some damage, but certainly not going to be winning around anytime soon.
Now, you'd have to think for Fate, they're going to be able to claw their way into a lead here on the opening best of 1. Are looking pretty strong in these last few rounds, getting 3 in a row. And for ESPADA, they're just sort of waiting around, seeing if they can find some extra kills, try and take some weapons out of the hands. You've got to think for this Fate side, you know, this is a perfect opportunity to really start to build up the bank. We've already seen sort of Nicky near 7k, now 10k, sort of going into the next buy. He's got so much money to work with.
I think what makes this really special for Fate as well is the fact that they're doing this on the T side. And that was what we had the most doubts about, if you recall, when we were breaking down this match just before we kicked things off. For them to already have locked in 3 rounds on the T side, have taken the lead and shown good strength on those gun rounds so far, I'm actually feeling a little bit more confident about this Fate side, and we really may have a game on our hands now, Dwight.
Yeah, look, really keen to sort of see Fate be able to continuously bring the pressure, you know, try and limit the economy as low as possible for the ESPADA side. Now, we do see the AWP coming out from Dexter, and when we were talking about him a fair bit in the pre-game, hasn't really been able to find the impact with that AWP just yet on this CT side, so it's going to take a little bit longer until that gets going. But you can even look at just the standpoint for the CTs. They've got no kits, they've got very light utility, only one more incendiary to work with, so at least in counter utility, they need to make sure that they're holding on to their utility as late into the round as possible.
Curious to see how Fate will choose to burst here. Ultimately, it's just a matter of time, and well, we don't even get an answer there. They just straight out throw the flash grenade and let it rip. Rocket dives on in, finds one. Patrick for a swift second as well as Fate double dip onto the site. And from there, ESPADA's defenses have already been ripped to pieces. Fate are vultures right now swarming across that site, hunting down their prey, and ultimately setting themselves up for a feast for weeks to come. As this just looks easy pickings for them. That's another gun round, Weg, where they've walked in, got 2 early kills, and ESPADA have had no choice but to save.
Yeah, look, ESPADA, I would certainly say that they're finding this really difficult. We've certainly seen another save attempt, like you said, but the fact that they're just not really finding impact. They had 3 players over towards a bomb site. The B defenders really just didn't find anything. And Dexter is going to take a couple of players down with that AWP, so at least trying to make this round expensive for the T's. But at the same time, needs to realize that he doesn't want to drop the AWP. He wants to bring it into the next round. Now, Dexter can drop an M4, and then either Finnegan or Patsy could drop a FAMA, so they can still buy around this and get a full buy going into round 7. But Fate, they're looking just absolutely rock solid.
So far, so good. For me, it's just a case of how long can they keep it going? Can they keep it going? I mean, I have 1,000,001 questions right now for Fate. I would pay good money to be able to pull their coach, pull their analyst onto this team seat right now so I could pick their brains. As I just want to understand what's bringing on the decisions they're making. What is the game plan for their T side? This is really exciting stuff to see because it's a team who, although we had high hopes for, we weren't expecting much here realistically. I think I said in my own words before we jumped on air, this is probably going to be another 16-7, 16-6. I really had little faith in the Fate side. I thought it could be a banger of a game, but the odds of that happening were pretty damn slim. Turns out, I need to go walk to a casino right now. I need to get myself onto Loot Bet, pop open some Hellcase cases, because I'm on a winning streak today. This game is setting itself up to be quite something. Already Fate 4 rounds on their T side. This is not going to be a game that ESPADA let go easily, which means we are looking at a much closer affair.
Yeah, look, I think that Fate have really come into this doing their homework, and we've seen time and time again ESPADA taking this banana control, but Fate are just giving it up. They're really just not even contesting. And one thing, if you're not contesting banana, at least in the early round, it does mean that you're not taking the brunt of damage from those HGs and those incendiaries, but instead looking to try and take it a little bit later. We see the swing coming out, one-on-one trade. CTs don't really come out on top, and in fact, it's a bit of a weakness because now you've got Finnegan that's sort of playing that rotator between A and B, and he's not really sure, does he want to rotate to help out the B defender or stay here at A and B and have a gamble stack of 3 players?
Yeah, and I'm also not too keen on the way Fate have approached that. They've decided to leave their AWP behind, just sat really top of T-steps, just waiting for the push. Felt like they knew it was coming, but why leave your AWP in that scenario? It was an easy kill for the SMG to slip through and find, so sacrificing a man there in exchange for the trade frag. We do see more of those trade kills come through, though, thick and fast towards this site, and ultimately it is going to be a Fate show coming out on top, as within seconds to spare, I would imagine that bomb will go down. We can't quite see, but it does. With a second left on the clock, they secure the plant, and ultimately, I would imagine, secure the round as well. As Sophic is left in a 1v2, and in fact, he's going to go for this. I mean, he might as well.
1-on-2, needs to try and isolate some of these picks, but you've got to think for Fate, they'll just peek on each other's contact, make sure they're swinging together. And Sophic has made his way into the side, but he still hasn't seen any player. Patrick's going to swing up. A 5th round now up for Fate. And if I'm ESPADA, I'm just going for a tactical pause. I'm going, right, things are really not working out on this CT side. Finnegan's still yet to get a kill 7 rounds deep. We're not finding the impact. Our B defense is very weak at the moment. We need to just find the trade kills. They need to really find opening man advantages. I can't even remember the last time that we saw like an opening pick come out for the ESPADA side.
Yeah, it's really not been their day, has it? And when they have found those opening picks once or twice, whether that's through the aggression in the previous round, they did get first blood. They were able to secure the kill with the SMG coming through that bottom banana smoke. It's immediately met by a trade fragment Fate, and typically not just one. Usually it's a 2-for-1 every day of the week. Fate are living the 2 for Tuesdays lifestyle, and it may well be a Saturday morning, but for them, they're just living the deals lifestyle. As that's all we've seen from them. It's just consistent trades all the time. That was the storyline on the site as well when you look towards the A site in that previous round. When they did the long wraparound through short and long respectively, we saw 1 kill come through for ESPADA and then immediately 3 to follow for the Fate side.
Of course, just seeing on your screens as well, Malta V and Malta V15, hellcase.com, giving you some fantastic codes to use at home. And get a little bit of cash in your pocket and a 15% refill bonus only at our case partners of Hellcase. ESPADA are looking to finally start to end the streak from the T side. Oh, HG in towards Brackets. Ooh. Massive amount of damage done to that T side.
Yeah, he's taking it straight to Value Town with that one. That's over 150 damage, roughly, done to those 3 players there. That makes that HE grenade worth every single dollar.
We like to see that. We like to see the big damage. But you know what we like to see better, more, Flex, is more rounds. That's what we want to see from us, buddy. Yeah, you know, we can have the fancy HE placements and we can have the big damage. But what they really need to do is just convert some of these rounds, because Faye have now won, what, 5 in a row? They've really started to just build up their money line. I mean, Mara's at like 13,000. Ridiculous how much money he's got to work with. And into this slow control.
It's on the T side as well.
Yeah, that's what the thing. Yeah.
It's even more wild. It's Fate on their T side. It's not where we expected them to excel. When you looked at past results, even looking beyond Inferno for a second, let's not just look at a data set of one map. Look at the general kind of Fate playstyle from what we've seen, just looking back over the last couple of weeks. These guys on their T side, that's where they typically struggle the most. They very much more comfortable on that CT side. That's where their team, I think, really is kind of been built around. You've got a lot of players who've always been very high impact on that CT side. Here, something's working. I don't know what it is right now for them, what they've changed, but I love it. This is 6 rounds back-to-back for them on their team set way. What more do you need?
Not a lot, really. They're just playing well. They're finding picks really easily. They're winning out gunfights just so easily. Like, you can just see in pretty much all of the swings, there's just never really a response in terms of like a multi-frag from one of the M4s. And now ESPADA go, right, we need a bit of a change. Let's go double orbs. Let's get our sort of hybrid IGL on that secondary AWP of Sophics. Just see if we can find some sort of impact. And I don't mind this change coming out from ESPADA. It certainly shows that they realize that they need some sort of adaptation, some sort of change up going into round 9. But even so, the HE is just coming out, and straight away, Sophics just blind, instant wide swing, instant death.
Yeah, not the greatest of starts, not at all. And I have to say, I actually don't like the double up here. Although I appreciate you're pulling something new out of the bag, you're trying something different. When you look at how Fate are playing, kind of not necessarily just playing for picks, but playing very aggressively, using the utility well, double up is not the solution. I want to see more aggression from ESPADA. Start pushing, taking out control. Start doing a little bit more kind of creative play on your CT side. The only place they've pushed so far, time and time again, is Banana. And you can see Blocker, he's actually set up for this. He knows what's coming. He's baiting them in, saying, push me, I'm here, I'll take this fight. He's happy to do so right now.
And even
meanwhile, his team, they're all set up on A. Look at this. Patsy's alone. This is great. Blocker has done all he's needed to do here. His team now, they just have to deliver. And they've done just that. They've found the kill towards Pit. The smoke then goes out towards Long. And boom. They've traded 1 for 1 and got a bomb plant. With Han then sneaking in a shot on Dexter as well, things just go from bad to worse here for ESPADA. They think they're 200 IQ. They think a fight towards Banana is looking real spicy for them. Little do they know, it's all just one big ruse. And frankly, they're left looking like fools in this round.
Blocker pulled so much attention away. Blocker just did such a great job in Banana, holding the 2 players there. And then Patsy was alone at A. And all it comes down to...
wasn't even 2. He held all 4 players on that B site.
Yeah.
It's like, wild.
Even the rotators. That's the big thing, is that it's like, how can a single individual hold 2 players towards a broken wall, and then sort of like 2 on rotation, at least 1 in Speedway, and then 1 back in CT, and leave Patsy alone on A? It's just ridiculous how much like information he's finding and how much like he's holding back the CTs. That all Fate need to do is trade out evenly at A, go for the apps rush, get that bomb plant. Han then gets a pick through the smoke on Moto to get the 3-on-2, and from there it's an instant save. There's no way the cities can retake. This is just getting out of hand. This is getting ridiculous for a team that had won last week and taken home 35,000 USD and a week's boot camp in Malta. They've come into the best of one, and they've just not delivered the potential that we expect from them.
But this is what you said, right? You told us to look out for this, that they are a team who can start small and really take some time to heat up a little. So I'm hoping someone right now is flicking on the gas at ESPADA, really starting to crack some eggs, as these guys need to get some breakfast in them and they need to get riled up, as it's 7-2. That couldn't get much worse for a T-side. It really couldn't. And again, just looking back to the last round for a second, the reason why it works so well is because they're starstruck on this B aggression, and they do the same thing again in this round. And by no surprise, it's a 1-to-1 trade because Fate are prepared for it. The only caveat here is this time they may find some success by using that AWP to try and bait them in for a peek. But I wonder if Fate even try it. I wonder if Fate are aware of the fact that ESPADA are now going to be trying to bait them in. They just sit and be patient. That is a potential opportunity here. You see Dexter actually forced to have to get aggressive here, takes the shot, misses, and Blocker gets the frag. Now they're relying wholly on the success of Finnegan, and I have to say, this has just been completely flawless from Fate. They've waited, they played patiently, they made ESPADA feel like they had to get aggressive to make the play, and when they do, instant death. Now, 2-on-3, you've got an open play in this scenario, which is never what you want to see. You've got both players coming for Banana with that AWP present playing Overwatch. If Han can deliver here, but a close-range CQB action, we're looking at round done. But let's see. Shot comes through. Shot missed. But it's Marth to clean things up. He grabs them up, but he wipes away Patsy and Sopvik as it's another round for the Fate side.
Well, one thing we've certainly seen from Fate, it's not as if they're playing a T side where it's like, you know, it's super aggressive, you know, it's fakes, it's baits. It's just simple Counter-Strike. It's all it comes down to is taking map control, trading incredibly nicely, and just waiting for over-aggression on that CT side. They were just waiting for the banana pick. And as soon as Dexter rounds that corner, as soon as he tries to get a pick towards that logs position from Broken Wall, it's instant death. From there, they realize, right, there's probably, one more B anchor. Let's just pop flash our way through, use our utility, trade out evenly, get the bomb side. And that's all that Fate have been doing, is they've just been trading off one another. They've been holding on to man advantages for pretty much every single round in, at least for the last 8. And ESPADA, it seems like they just continuously get baited into getting over-aggressive when Fate are ready for it.
It's harsh, but you could feel the desperation. That's what ultimately boils down to. As a CT side, you don't need to push. Your job is to defend the bomb site. You don't need to leave the bomb site in that scenario, especially when you're playing with the AWP setup. If anything, you want to set up and wait for them to walk into your crosshair. By choosing to get aggressive, you're allowing Fate the opportunity to set a trap and for you to walk into it. And that's exactly what happened. Because, and I have to say, it's a fairly transparent trap too, because you're pushing B every single round. That's basically your entire tactic. You're doing it again here as well. They do get themselves a cheeky nade kill, so more power to them for being able to secure that. But this has to be transparent for Fate. Surely they're aware of what's going on, because this is all we've seen for the last 4 rounds. It's the exact same play.
Yeah, you'd have to think that ESPADA are playing a SAD side, which is just easily readable. Just an app lurk to come out from a single individual from the T side while they start to retake this banana control. This HG doesn't do any damage. The swing coming out. This actually could be a round now for the ESPADA side. Considering it's a 5-on-3, this is the best advantage yet.
Oh, how did he get the kill with the Molotov?
No idea. Absolutely no idea.
That's a surprise. They retrieved the bomb for that as well, so that opens up opportunities. And Patsy, no! Buddy, please, don't give this to Mar. Don't give him the opening. Mar will thankfully fall. That's a saving grace for ESPADA now, and it's left to Dexter, the MVP of this ESPADA side, the fragging power of this team to try and be that site anchor. Supported now by Demon, who's got enough time to rotate in. He'll find another kill for his troubles. That leads us now to a 1-on-2. Fate in a clutch scenario. You've got Dexter in prime position.
Oh!
He starts to tap away, but he runs out of ammo. Oh my goodness. The Emperor, when I was haunting him there as Nikki walks away on 1 HP. 1 HP to egg. That's all he's got. He's looking for the headshot, but he won't quite get the shot off. Finnegan will take him down and will find a 3rd for ESPADA, but only just. That is a 1 HP clutch attempt from Nikki. Absolutely insane.
Now, if I'm a Sparta, I'm probably getting pretty annoyed there. And the fact that you've got a 3-on-1 and you throw it away like that, it shouldn't happen. It really shouldn't happen. And for Nicky, he just keeping the economy line so low. Sparta get away with a round victory, yeah, but only one player stays alive. So you even think, like, you look at the money line, you've got Deegster just over 3K, you've got Patsy just over 3K as well. So we're going to be seeing FAMASas and MP9s when all they've had is double AWPs and M4s. So they come out of round 12 with sort of a worse buy. Yeah, that's the thing. Espada, like, two players, I can understand staying alive, but to take it into a one-on-one, it should have never have happened. That should have been an easy kill for the Graveyard player.
Yeah, it really should have been, but not to be. That M401S just showing the problems it can cause. The obviously limited bullets in the magazine can sometimes haunt you, that's for sure. And also, just a fun fact of the round, for Finnegan, that was only his second kill in this game
Wow.
so far.
Okay, yeah, that's... I don't know how much of a fun fact that is for Finnegan, but yeah, like, that's a worrying sign, certainly. And you spoke about maybe a bit of an apps aggression. We saw the AWP taking the first contact from Dexter, Finnegan trying to support from the boiler position. That's the first time we've seen any presence through apartments on CT.
Yeah, I like to see it. I mean, it feels like maybe still a little too late for them to start sowing some skin towards that part of the map, but at the end of the day, they still need rounds. And even if they can get 4 or 5 rounds here, anything's better than the 3 they currently have. They do not want to allow Fate to get a 12-3 on T-side Inferno. That's almost a death sentence before we even get to the second half. So pretty damn important they make this work, as you see going for more of that utility damage that's been so well for them. Surprised the FAMAS takes a swing there. Unfortunately, it will be a simple trade in the end, and Fate decides, you know what, boys? Let's just go back to A. We know that they over-rotate very quickly, so let's just go back to A, see what we can do. They're using those smokes to try and see if they can pull Dima back, actually. Oh, Dexter's rotating as well. What's he going to do? Is he just going to play Coffins, or is he going to fully get into CT? Looks like he will stay in Coffins. I like this. Very tough angle to deal with. Good flashbang, and he lands the shot as well. And CT support now in play. Second kill in the bag from Dexter. He's doing a great job so far, just holding on. And this is where the time pressure really starts to kick in. That gives Espada their 4th round now.
That's more like it. That's what we want to see from Dexter. And what I really like there from Espada is they don't over-rotate. They had 2 players on B. The utility came out for the T side of Vermodo and Long Smoke. And from, I would say, not a majority of teams, but you'd certainly get some teams in the Tier 2 region that would just completely over-rotate. Considering the position that Espada are in, where they're 3 to 8 down, you could think, right, they're certainly going A, let's just over-rotate from B, leave it completely open. But they leave Dexter there, and he finds so much impact. Flashed off the angle, finds a second kill on the trade, and from there, he's just able to keep fragging away, try and bait out as much time as possible to allow those rotations back in for the B bomb site from the A players, which again is going to take some time. So he does a really great job of just being able to defend that Coffin's position. And for Fate, maybe they've got to deal with Dexter now, Flakes, because 14 and 7 seems like these last few rounds he's really starting to come alive.
Yeah, I think what's going to be really interesting is to see what Espada can do now that they've started to unlock the money printers. They've got money flying into those accounts. They're going to be a bit more stable. I wonder if Fate have been aided by the fact that they've had a very broken CT side to play up against. Just being able to grind them out of so many rounds back to back, that they've won their fair share of buy rounds up against pistols. So curious to see if Espada are going to be able to get a little bit more comfort now that Double AWP can be back in play. They can start to build up some bank as well.
Certainly could be a bit interesting. Bit of a technical pause coming out in the best of ones. So hopefully we'll be able to get that resolved for you guys. Get back into the game. Fortunately, it's a little bit of loss, I believe, coming out for Nicky. So we should be able to get that all sorted. Because certainly for Fate, you know, if they come out of this half, you'd have to say Flex. If they come out with maybe, 10 rounds, I would, maybe 9. Let's say 9 or 10. I think they can be very satisfied with their performance in this first half.
Yeah, for me, they've already done more than what I expected. So even just leaving on 8 rounds, I think they're already happy. This actually would match the previous half-line score, 8-7, from their last time these two teams played. So they, I think, have to be over the moon here. 8 rounds T-side is miles better than not only their previous result, but also just their T-sides in general. The question is, you've done so well, can you do even more now? Can you really position yourself in the best spot possible to close out this best of one. Because you have to remember, the multi-vibes format's actually pretty brutal. We go immediately into best of threes after this that can eliminate you from play.
Yeah.
So getting your best of one win here is actually a huge boon for you in the later stages of multi-vibes.
Well, one thing we've certainly seen over the last few weeks in multi-vibes is that with the best of ones, if you get 2 upsets in the best of ones, you get the top seeds that face off against each other in that lower bracket elimination game, and it makes it so tough. So you've got to think for ESPADA, you really don't want to be going down into that lower bracket off the back of a loss in a best of one, because it means it's 2 best of threes in a row to be able to qualify into that playoffs position. But that's the thing with best of ones, sometimes they can be brutal. Sometimes there is that upset potential. I mean, it's not so much like it used to be with the sort of old economy, but it used to be like you win both pistols, you go 3-0 up twice, you get 6 rounds on the board. Not so much like that anymore with sort of how many force buys we're seeing in that second round, but certainly there is a much bigger upset potential in a best of one rather than that best of 3.
Definitely, and it's a great way to start off your competition day as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, just looking across the whole of Week 8 so far, we already know over in Group A and Group B, it's Na'Vi, Hellraisers, Team Spirit, and Apex to take the green light in those respective groups. The question mark for today is Group C and Group D. Of course, Group C, that's where we're spending our time right now. It's Crazy, ESPADA, Fate, and K23. And likewise, Group D, 4 Gambit youngsters, Level Up, and Pact. A pretty spicy field this week, really is.
Yeah, we've seen some pretty good performances coming out from K23, the ex-Simon guys that have rebranded. They've been able to put up some really decent performance, and sort of keep an eye out for them in Group C. And then probably Group D, the fact that Gambit youngsters have won multi-vibes twice now. So the fact that they've been able to get 2 boot camps at 70k, they've won, I think in the last couple of months, $150,000 in prize money. They've just been on the biggest of hot streaks. And then you've got Forza, another big name in the CIS region. So, yeah, kind of keen to sort of see how Group C and Group D develop over the course of today. Obviously,
I also really like the Na'Vi Junior lineup. I think that's one that has to be mentioned. They are a team who a lot of people weren't sure what to expect from. Obviously, a CIS team built on a pretty legendary name. And they've done bloody well. Obviously, taking home second, that's 10,000 USD in Week 5. And likewise, Week 4, finishing 5th to 8th as well, losing out only to the crazy lineup at a 2-1 best of 3. So, an interesting one so far, has to be said. But with all that done, it's time to focus back on this best of 1 again, because we are alive and kicking in the action. And it seems to be, surprise, surprise, more ESPADA, banana aggression. Who would have thought?
They like it, and they're going for a bit of a dual setup in the apartments with an M4 and an AWP. Very close quarters between them, rather than being sort of a little bit more widespread.
Be careful, Deem is sending it. He's pushing straight through the smoke, and Han is focused on top mid. That's a really odd decision there. They've allowed Han to again with the AWP, to hold a B-side push, but rather than doing his job there, he's actually decided to cross over, running, making all that noise, and focus on a top mid fight that didn't need to be looked after. And as a result, we see Deema swing out bottom mid, get not only 1 kill, but a second frag as well. Sorry to cut you off, but that is an absolute disaster.
That really is. That's the first time we've seen that play. But look at Blocker just opening up this A bomb side. And after Deema did so much work, Flakes, he was able to push down Banana the first time we've ever seen it from ESPADA. He gets 2 kills. It's right, we've got a 5-on-3. We can't lose this round. We've got all the advantages in the world. We're forcing Fate into the A bomb site because we've already taken complete Banana control. And then Blocker does that. How frustrating must that be for ESPADA?
I wasn't aware when I accepted this gig yesterday that I'd have a potential heart attack from casting this series. This is absolutely insane.
Ridiculous. That shouldn't happen. How does Blocker get away on 48 HP after 3 kills? How is he not traded?
It's just, there are so many things that make no sense. The fact that he's been able to find a triple kill. Deema's done a bloody great job of realizing that actually Han just... And I'm going to kind of pinpoint him for a second here, because it's the second time I've actually seen him do this, where he's given the responsibility of clearly holding top T steps. And you can see him do it with the AWP. He kind of just vaguely points his crosser at the wall. And then after about 2 seconds, he thinks, oh, they're not going to push it, despite them pushing it every single round, and leaves it. And then every time, an SMG comes flying like Jackie Chan through the smoke and kicks him in the face. I really that's a one weakness of Fate that can come back to bite them if team is able to abuse that over and over again. We'll have to keep a close eye on it because he shouldn't be able to just swing out and get a double kill. That's ridiculous.
Oh, and this time around, they actually don't smoke off bottom banana, which allows Dexter to go for an opening pick. So they use the util with the HE and the incendiaries, but no resmoke. And now they've just got a flying player into towards Speedway, but Nicky's been seen. Another easy orb shot coming out from Dexter. What an instant response from ESPADA.
Yeah, this is looking much better. They've used. I just can't. I can't
What
actually
was
talk
that?
when I'm watching it. I just can't. that was physically painful. It was like pulling teeth from my mouth. When you're watching your full spray get whiffed, it's hard to really put the thoughts together. There's now. Is this Fate bringing it back? Please tell me no. Thankfully, to the powers that be above, thank you. You've made this round normal. I'm running out of what to say at this point. This is insane.
Yeah, look, we're having some wild scenes here in this best of one, but look, for ESPADA, that was a really great response, and it all comes down to Dexter getting that opening pick, flying up through Speedway, Nicky just giving way too much information away. First of all, the footsteps, first of all, being seen from the moto player, and all that information just relayed over to Dexter, gets another kill, gets that 5-on-3 opportunity, and from there, Fate just don't have the numbers game in their favor. A 9-5, Fate looking to try and get to double digits at the turn of the half. And for ESPADA, they're just looking to hold on the city side.
I thought they're passions at this point. They're enjoying the ride, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
I wonder if this does it again. I'm just. That's really where I'm spending all my time. Just looking at this map, going, Dima, go on, buddy.
Yeah.
Just you run down banana. You can see him thinking about it as well. There's a smoke. This is all the pieces in play that he likes to do. But look at the difference this time. You can see, I don't know who's made a comment on the Fate side, but just take a look at who's painfully watching bottom mid right now. He's not flinching at all. Hahn is locked in on his story. If a push comes through, he's the man to deal with it. And it's nice to finally see that change come through.
Yeah, that's discipline coming out there from Hahn, and that's just Nicky drilling into him, making sure that he's holding that position. There's no way that he can take his vision away from it. Fate are putting up a fair bit of utility towards its A bomb side and trying to go for the great opening kill coming out from Nicky that just opened up his bomb side. Nicky, again, it's a T-side player opening up A with a massive multi-kill of 3 kills. This is unbelievable. Like, how can that happen?
He's like an absolute can opener, isn't he? It's perfect flashbangs as well. Both those flashes were wonderful. And it's Nicky finding the kills there, which makes that even more beautiful. Again, a player who you just think of as, he's the consistent fragger, the consistent leader. You don't expect him to be the guy that's dropping in a triple kill opener onto your bomb site. But he gets the job done. And as a result, we see a 10-5 half. Twig, I'm going to need you to hold me here because I don't know if I can take this anymore. This is ridiculous. Fate, 10 rounds on the T side. What is this? Look at that streak. 8 rounds back to back.
Look at the numbers of kills as well for Finnegan, Sophic, and Patsy. Like that's unacceptable. How have you got 3 players on 4 kills or less? Like that shouldn't happen. You can't just rely on Dexter and Demon to find impact because, man, those guys were doing work and probably gave them the majority of rounds. But outside of those 2 players, ESPADA they've not been able to find kills. They've not been able to put numbers up on the board. And it's certainly showing by that scoreboard. Like you said, the 8 rounds in a row, that was just... that should never have happened. And on the T side for Fate, they've just come into this best of one, just absolutely firing on all cylinders.
It's interesting when you look at those players who are struggling on the frag department there for ESPADA. A couple of those guys didn't find a single frag over a period of 10 rounds.
Yeah, that's worrying.
So, yeah, when you look at situations like that, I'm not surprised the odds have made the shift that they have. Looking a little bit funky in terms of the order of the odds, but nonetheless, I'll be putting all my chips right now into Fate. Wouldn't expect it, but that's where I'll be putting my money.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense after seeing that first half, and you've got to think for ESPADA, if they lose this pistol, they're pretty much done. They need to get off to the right foothold, getting into this T side. And even look at this apartments play. There's really 3 players setting up a crossfire.
I love the CZ here. Like this just makes me happy. It's a grin on my face. The CZ sends it, and it doesn't work. Oh my goodness, the timing. The Glock eats him alive. It's the USP now to try and respond. And this is Hahn delivering now. Taps down 2, looks for a little bit more. Dexter uses the CZ to his advantage, secures the kill, and that brings us back down to an ESPADA situation. 3-on-2. Patrick and Nikki going to try and pull off that retake, and they've got a smoke to work with.
Smoke going off to blind off the pit position by the looks of things. Quite an interesting smoke coming out from Nikki to try and help them back into the site. What a shot coming out from Nikki. And now it's a 2-on-2. This has opened it up. Patrick's got an idea that there's a player towards the apartments that needs to deal with the CZ onto the site of Dexter, and this round is done. Dexter's going to be able to close it out. Fate had a really sort of fantastic crossfire to deal with the apartments play, and they were able to get a couple of kills, but it seemed like once the trades come out and once ESPADA actually got onto the site, that's really where they came into their own.
Yeah, ESPADA definitely doing a great job of locking that in towards the end. And like you say, I feel like once they got on the site, they actually played that really smart. They put themselves in a position where even if the frag was found on the site, we would have seen an instant trade coming in through apps. So I think they had that one secured. It definitely had its moments of flashiness, though. I mean, I'm not going to be forgetting about that little headshot flick towards pit anytime soon. That was just an absolute beauty, as you guys would say, over the other side of the pond.
An absolute beauty, yeah, I would say it, yeah. Well, Sparta. And this is what they're looking for. And for Fate, that was an early B stack in the beginning of the round, but now there's only 2 players, and Sparta are just going for a simple execution.
Bit nades, though, see if they can do some damage here. Team actually eating a fair bit there, and these rotations are coming through, so there is a thin chance that pistol shenanigans take place. As we're going to see those pistols start to burst through the smokes, and fortunately for them, they're just getting chewed up by SMGs and Galils and whatnot. So much damage being done. Not really too much that they can do, unfortunately.
Probably save. They're really only their option, isn't
it? You've got the Kevlar, so
yeah,
you have to carry that forward, surely.
Bring it into the next round and see if you can do some more damage, because the thing is, they go for the retake, and realistically, they find maybe 1 or 2 kills on the retake. At least if they bring these weapons into the following round, you can expect that they should be able to find more impact in terms of kills going into the next than what they were able to achieve on the retake. So there is that decision. At the same time, though, not going for the retake means that for ESPADA, no one goes down, so they can really start to build up this economy line. Now, none of those kills came out from the MAC-10s, though. It was the Galil from Patsy that was able to fight a couple. So ESPADA certainly going into the next round, you'd expect, get those MAC-10s up the front, get Sofix and Finnegan fired up, get them to just absolutely rip, because you've got to think there's not going to be any more investment coming through to the other 2 players. So no Kevlar, MAC-10s galore when that happens.
Exactly, yeah. They're going to be wanting to just maximize their success here with those SMGs. And it's actually pretty unfortunate in that previous round they don't get the kills then. They actually did a good chunk of the damage, I think just below, in some cases, assists, and for both of the 2 early kills, just shy of that damage, about 40 HP to both players. So, unfortunately, doing the work, but unable to cash in. Those Galils being pesky freeloaders today, Dwick.
And nades out to Banana, doing a bit of damage onto Dima. So at least they can be happy that they've been able to do some return damage up to the T side. But it's the stack out to A, and I'll tell you what, ESPADA have just been able to, at least in the second half, hit the bomb sites where there's not a stack coming through.
Working out pretty nicely for them. And I like the strategy as well of just using the utility and then seeing what happens, because they realized that for Fate, when the full execute comes in, they don't really have the option of just sitting back and waiting. They have to kind of make a play if they're stacked on the site. As a result, from seeing Fate not really take action here, they decide to head towards A instead, and I would imagine that's because they believe there is a stack in play towards the site. So maybe they find a bit of a surprise here as they make the push. They still is just pistols. They shouldn't be able to do too much.
Shouldn't do. You would hope so. There isn't too many upgrades up on the CT side. Dexter dealing with the first, and for the Ts, just run into this A bomb site. Make sure you're establishing crossfires. There are a lot of these pesky CTs in very close range positions. There's a Zeus out for Han, but dealing with the pistols pretty easily flex. Expect for ESPADA, no one really should go down here. And I tell you what, even though there was a stack out to the A bomb site, ESPADA do a really great job in the timings and just establishing crossfires between one another, that no one goes down on that T side.
It's exactly what you want to see, a repeat of the previous round where they're going to keep every single player alive, it seems. And the benefit there, like you say, is just money. They're going to be able to keep building it up. The downside, you're probably keeping weaponry that you're trying to get rid of at this point. You're looking for an excuse to lose those SMGs so you can swap in AKs or if not an AWP in exchange. So they're going to be hunting here, just trying to see if they can find Nikki, who's peeping down from above, trying to get a Spider-Man impression as he looks to drop in, but unfortunately for him, not quite going to work out. Just 1 kill before an immediate trade.
One thing that I'm getting a little bit worried about, Flex, is the fact that ESPADA were down 2-8, and they've actually been able to bring this back to a relatively competitive scoreline. It's only a deficit of 2. You think, right, they win out this gun round, Fate are going to be instantly reset again. They'll be on Eco. It goes 9-10, it goes 10-10, and then we've got a game on our hands. But it really comes down to this rough round right here for ESPADA, not upgrading those Mac 10s at all, upgrading to an AWP, but not getting the AKs out for both Softfix and Finnegan.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see that decision being made. And just to talk a little bit more to your first point there, Fate have shown their strength on the CT side Inferno. We know they can take ESPADA round for round when they've got the guns in play. So for me, this is where we need to be paying close attention to what are those decisions from Fate. How are they using these rifles? And honestly, so far, not so good. Already losing that first duel out to a flying SMG, just applying that pressure towards A. And no real aggression from Fate either, so no information gained. It's just passive play all across the board, which really means that ESPADA can just start taking fights and ultimately start winning duels.
There is almost no utility too for the Fate side. Look how much they've got left in them. They've got, what, a couple of flashbangs and a smoke. That's it. They've baited out so much util on this CT side from Fate that ESPADA, you've got to think, no matter where they go for an execution, whether it's the A bombs or whether it's B, there's going to be no counter utility.
Yeah, it's a real big problem, the fact they've been using so much of the utility early on here. And that, again, is partly down to the fact they have no information. So they're using the utility as a way to slow down the round. But too early on, you want to be ensuring ESPADA have to push with basically a frantic scenario. The upside is they do take a slow contact in towards B. 20 seconds now in play, and Patrick find that kill means we are going to see that 4-on-4 play come through. We've all got to rely on Blocker, who gets a double kill spray down. Not on the bomb carrier, though, and that's going to be the problem here. Can Han sneak into the site and deny that plant?
Softfix needs to try and recover some sort of rifle because he's got a Mac 10 flags on the side. And I tell you what, that's a beautiful retake from Fate. I think that was just overthinking things from ESPADA. We saw the fact that they had, what, a single lurk out from B just saying if they could get information. They started bringing the players back, and then as soon as that lurk goes down, they go, hang on a minute, we'll go back to A. And it just seemed like it was a little bit panicked. It was a little bit chaotic, that they were sort of in two minds of one.
It's actually quite ironic because just as that whole situation was playing out, I was talking to the fact that that's that feeling of panic and kind of making chaotic round. That's what you want to force with your utility. You want to be dropping smokes towards B with 30 seconds remaining. So if they want to hit that site, they have to push through the smoke with a flash, or they have to rotate away towards A. Fate actually managed to get that same effect without actually doing anything correctly with their utility usage. So it really comes down to, as you say, ESPADA kind of just overthinking their play. I think the other thing that's really unfortunate for them is Blocker probably doesn't get 2 kills there a lot of the time. But the fact that he does is a disaster because they lose the majority of their actual firepower and they're banking on the SMGs to have an impact, which, like you said, in reality, all you're trying to do with that SMG is drop it as fast as possible.
You can even see there, just a wide swing coming out from Softfix on that AWP. No double peek, no flashbang, no utility to try and force him off angle. Just an easy pick going the way of Fate, getting that 5-on-4, and even siphoning off the map control from ESPADA out through brackets. They start to back off, take this banana presence. And for Han, if he starts to over-aggress any further, even towards going for like a mid-duel, then he's going to see that there is nothing here in brackets.
I just wonder if he does get that information early on, if we see a rotation come through relatively soon. We're starting to see a little bit of movement in towards Library, and I think that might just be the call, and it might come through within the nick of time. This could be perfectly red. If he gets that rotation in now, they're going to have that support from Library as well. As it comes round towards this hot position. Come up at above, and oh my goodness, no one's checked it. No one's checked it, Weg. This is a disaster. Nicky then gets free reign to peek out with the AWP. No one looking towards him. Finnegan desperate to try and save the day, but he's got 25 seconds. Blocker right on his heels. Not today, Chief. No plan for you. That is a disaster of a site take there from ESPADA, and it all begins with no one checking that flower pot position. That's elementary Counter-Strike. Your second player in, he checks flower pot every time. If that doesn't happen, you've just seen the outcome, folks. You just get obliterated from that spot, and then your players who've made it across in towards pool and the players that follow from the bottom of banana, they're suddenly left looking, okay, 1,001 different angles. Everything just kind of breaks down. Easy solution, just make sure your second player always checks that flower pot position.
Oh, look at the aggression too from Nikki. I can't believe they actually come out with a man advantage there. That's so insane how aggressive they are towards the bottom of Banana.
Look
And
at
that's
Mar
something
as well.
that you can expect from Fate, the bottom of mid, I should say. That's something you can expect from Fate, is the fact that they just like to get aggressive on the City side. We saw nothing like that from ESPADA in the first half.
Yeah, they're putting all of their players right now in aggressive positions, just saying, boys, go out and get dirty, take those fights, just punch away. It's like a bar fight gone wrong. Let's see if they can do much with it, though. And they're going to do lots of damage onto a short there, actually, as Han just tries to reel them in with the AWP. Patrick sat in the smoke. This is going to be delicious. It's like being at a pick and mix store. We've just got free raid all over the entire ESPADA side. Absolutely lovely. Fate up to 13 now on their CT side.
What is going on here for ESPADA? I mean, I spoke about maybe some of the slow starts that we saw from them last week, but this shouldn't happen. You know, you got yourself an absolute gift after winning Pistol and getting 3-0 up. You go into the first gun round and just all falls apart. 13-8, and we just even haven't seen tacticals. You know, where are the tactical pauses from ESPADA? And I mean, it's something that that is quite frustrating, especially with tier 2 teams, is like not taking tacticals. But this is the perfect time to just take a bit of a breather. You've lost all the control.
Yeah, I think the only kind of caveat to that is that some teams are much better at using these rounds as that breather, where they basically say, right, boys, just go do your own thing. I don't care whether you rush or do whatever. We're just going to talk. And they use that chance of just kind of verbally running through the situation. So I can understand the necessary to not call the pause there. That is a pretty tasty Deagle shot, but I don't think it changes much in the grand scheme of things, unfortunately.
Oh, block up is going to make sure that they don't get away with really too much more on the pistols to the T side. And you'd have to expect for Patsy trying to see if he can waterfall out from the apps, get the bomb plan in. You know what? He's actually got a chance if there's a player out towards that library position. But the swing's coming in from the short face. The P250's taking quite a bit of time to get this kill through. This could be a bomb plan for Patsy. This could mean a lot for the Tears.
I just like the fact that Han beats him like 6 different times. And it's just let the P250 just keep tapping at him. It's like a game of I can see you, but you can't see me. Like it's just a little bit of an awkward fight, but thankfully Han keeps the AWP, which is going to be the most important thing there. As Fate moved to 14 rounds and one of the final full buys they'll have to work with here on that ESPADA side. That's brutal to say. It really is. Just looking at how unfortunate of a game this has been for ESPADA so far.
Yeah, look, it's certainly been a bit of a worrying one going into the best of threes. And the Fate, this is great to see from them again. Ability coming down towards Banana. Dexter is just completely blind. He's able to take down Nikki. Oh, the damage. He almost gets taken down the incendiary.
Wouldn't be the first time we've seen that, that's for sure. Lovely follow-up molly as well, actually, there, just to try and further push Fate back. I wonder what they choose to do here. I was about to say now that they have the advantage, but looks like Han has something to say about that one.
4-4. That's what Fate need. They needed someone to be able to answer back, get that even playing field. That's a pretty interesting setup. I think that position of Patrick towards the back of second oranges, it's kind of like one of those like headshot angles where for you can get a headshot on the CT side, but it's very difficult to get like the T's to swing out and get a headshot because your head's like around the corner. So we're often seeing a lot of players holding this position. And even for Han, he's hungry. He's trying to aggress out through the top of Banana to find an answer back, but the T's are just ready for that, and maybe a bit of an overextension there.
Patrick is a player to watch, though. Likewise, Blocker as well. And keep in mind, Blocker has had an impact in 91% of these rounds right now. He's found a kill or some form of assist and key damage. That's a pretty big number. He may well be able to do something here. If he just kills the bomb carrier at this point, this could be a round. Let's see, push comes through. Patrick starts to chime through. Blocker lets rip, but neither of them are able to seal the deal for just long enough. That should be a bomb plant soon to follow. From there, it'll be round done for that ESPADA side.
Okay, that's a bit of a response coming out from ESPADA, and it really just came down to taking that Banana control, just waiting for a P to come through. And as soon as the overextension from Han comes out, they go, right, let's just execute into B. Mar's going to hold on to this M4, bring it into the next round. We'll be able to see a full investment coming through. Now, for Nick, he doesn't have a great amount of money, but certainly his teammates, Han in particular, has got a massive mountain of money to work with. So he can certainly drop a AWP for himself, drop over an M4 to Nicky. And happy days for the Fate side, because they'll be able to get another buy round in.
Yeah, the upside here is that we know that they will lose a couple of rounds to ESPADA here and there, but they know they also have the confidence to be able to close out this game. I feel quite comfortably as well, actually.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because just look back to past results, look back to Fate as a team in general. They are more than happy to sit and rule their CT rounds with you. And the reason why is because they play their CT side. They're a very aggressive CT team, and that doesn't lend itself to a 14-2, 15-2 sort of half. Rather, it lends itself to a team who are going to lose a couple rounds here and there, but ultimately, if it works out and you've done enough on the T side in that first half, that win's probably still going to be yours. Now, we see the aggression here from ESPADA yet again come through, but there's the response. Nicky swings out, gets the upgrade to his SMG, gets a frag on Finnegan with a Molotov. How did that come about?
Oh, they've just done so much damage from utility. We saw Finnegan down to like 9 points of health from one of the incendiaries, and then the second one comes through. And for ESPADA, like, how do you even come back from this? It's going to be a really difficult position. You don't really have a lot of map control outside of Banana. And even for Blocker, he's just waiting for Sofix to try and push through this smoke, trying to work on the edge of it. It seems like both teams are both trying to work on the edge of this smoke.
I love the re-smoke there as well, though. We talked about that utility usage actually being a point of concern here. Dropping that at really the 54-second mark does just enough. Well, it does two things, in fact. LA allows you to get better set up in some good pre-plant positions here. Getting that flower pot, so the CT crossfire in play. Seems like they're aware of the fact that there's going to be no cross smoke, which is actually wonderful for Blocker as well. But there it comes, actually caught by surprise. I thought they only had 2 Molotovs.
Oh, not again.
Extra smoke in their pocket, but again, they don't check it.
Man,
so they have the utility, they get the job done, they don't check it. Blocker gets to swing out wide and get a frag for his troubles. That is ridiculous. The awareness right now, such a problem here for ESPADA. Now 14 seconds remain. Dexter under pressure to force the bomb plant. Uses the molly to try and create a bit of space, force the peak from CT. 6 seconds now remain. He's got 2 seconds to get it done. 3 seconds on the clock. Tries to go for it, but it will not be enough. Mar will finish things off, pick up the AWP, and most importantly, put Fate on 15 rounds.
And you've mentioned it, Flex. You have mentioned not checking that flower boost, and it happens again. And it's just unacceptable. That's what it comes down to. It needs to be checked. The fact that we see Dexter really bringing that back, like he almost clutched out that round on a 1-on-4, but where was the support? You know, they needed to check the opening sort of flower pot position. They do that. They trade out evenly. They may have even won out the advantage. ESPADA, you know, a team at this caliber can't be making mistakes like that.
You can't help but feel like they're in a good position. So I actually didn't see the last smoke they had on that ESPADA side. And I have a feeling that Fate also assumed that because of their low money, there was no smoke in play on the cross because it hadn't come yet. But there was one that came through, so Blocker's position was actually shut down. He wasn't able to do anything. Jumping in though for a second, Han is just rattling shots away with his AWP at this point. Damage is being done left, right, and center. Nicky as well, just chiming in from bottom mid, putting Dex at a 39 HP. I don't think I have the time to break down the previous rounders. This game is done. Sotfik and Dexter trying desperately to pull through this 2v2, but Nicky is in a position here that I think might just seal the deal.
Well, they'll know that Nicky aggressed through Banana, so they'll probably think that he went back to the bomb side, but he's got all the information. He'll be able to pull the rotation out from Mar. Unless the T's fake B and go back to the A bomb side, Nicky going to be able to swing out. And look how low Dexter is. 1-on-2. He's got to clutch out once again. He's been able to find so much for this ESPADA side, but man, he can't win it out in the end. 16